She threw her poor father out of her wedding, not knowing the entire haul she was bragging about was secretly paid for by him. Before we dig deep into this shocking story, kindly hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on your notification bell so you never miss real stories that reveal the darkest truths and biggest betrayals. It was a bright sunny day in the small town of Port Harcourt. The air was filled with the sweet smell of fresh flowers and the sound of birds singing. Emily Thompson, a beautiful 28-year-old bride, stood in front of a large mirror in her bridal suite. She looked stunning in her white lace wedding dress that flowed like a dream. Her hair was done up in soft curls, and her makeup made her eyes sparkle. Today was her big day, the day she would marry James, her handsome fiancé from a rich family. Emily had planned everything perfectly. The wedding was at the Grand Evergreen Hall, the most expensive venue in town. It had crystal chandeliers, marble floors, and a huge garden for photos. Her friends and James's family were all there, dressed in fancy clothes. Everyone was buzzing with excitement, but deep inside, Emily felt a little knot in her stomach. She hadn't seen her father yet. Her father, Mr. Robert Thompson, was a simple man. He worked as a mechanic in a small garage, fixing old cars for little money. Emily's mother had left them when Emily was just 5 years old. She ran away with a richer man, leaving Robert to raise Emily all alone. Robert never complained. He cooked meals, helped with homework, and tucked her into bed every night. He even learned to braid her hair for school. But as Emily grew up, she started to feel embarrassed by his poor clothes and simple life. She wanted more: glamour, money, and status. As the clock ticked closer to the ceremony, Emily's best friend, Sarah, rushed in. "Emily, your dad is here, but, he looks a bit rough." Emily's heart sank. She hurried to the window and peeked out. There he was, standing awkwardly at the entrance. Robert was wearing his old ragged shirt and pants, the ones he wore to work. They were stained with oil and had holes in them. His shoes were worn out and his hair was messy. He looked like he didn't belong in this fancy place. Emily felt a wave of anger. How could he come like this? "This is my wedding. Everyone will laugh at me." She stormed out to confront him. Flashback to Emily's childhood. It was a rainy night when her mother, Linda, packed her bags and left. Little Emily clung to her father's leg, crying. "Daddy, why is Mommy going?" Robert knelt down, his eyes full of tears. "She's looking for something else, sweetie. But I'll always be here for you." From that day, Robert's life changed. He quit his better-paying job to work closer to home so he could pick Emily up from school. He saved every penny to buy her toys, clothes, and books. When Emily got sick, he stayed up all night by her bed. Neighbors offered to set him up with women, saying he needed help raising a girl. But Robert always said no. "I won't remarry. What if the new wife doesn't love Emily like her own? I can't risk that. She's all I have." Emily grew up hearing stories from her dad about how he fixed things, not just cars, but broken hearts too. He taught her to ride a bike, baked her birthday cakes, even if they were lopsided, and cheered the loudest at her school plays. But as she became a teenager, Emily started noticing the differences. Her friends had moms who took them shopping and dads who drove nice cars. Robert's old truck rattled, and their house was small and plain. One day when Emily was 16, she yelled at him, "Why can't we have nice things like everyone else?" "Mom left because you're poor." Robert's face fell, but he smiled sadly. "I'm sorry, Em. I will do my best." He never told her about the nights he skipped, meals to save money for her college fund, or how he turned down dates because he feared a stepmother might be mean to his daughter, like in the fairy tales he read to her. Years passed, and Emily moved to the city for work. She met James, a successful businessman, and fell in love with his world of luxury. She invited her dad to the wedding, but secretly hoped he wouldn't come. "He'll embarrass me," she confided to James, but Robert wouldn't miss it for anything. Back to the wedding day. Emily marched up to her father at the hall's entrance. Guests were arriving, whispering and staring. "Dad, what are you wearing? You look like a beggar. This is my wedding, not a junkyard." Robert looked down at his clothes, his face turning red. "I'm sorry, Emily. I didn't have time to change after work. I wanted to be here early to see." You walked down the aisle. He held out a small gift, a handmade wooden box. He had carved himself with her name on it. Emily snatched it away without opening it. "You ruin everything. James's family is here. They're important people. Go home and change, or better, just leave." Her voice was loud and people turned to look. James stood nearby, uncomfortable but silent. Robert's eyes filled with hurt. "But I just wanted to—" "Security!" Emily called. 2 guards came over. "Please escort this man out." "He's not welcome." The guards gently but firmly led Robert away. He didn't resist, just looked back with sad eyes. "I love you, Emily," he whispered as he was pushed out the door. The ceremony started without him. Emily walked down the aisle, smiling for the cameras, but inside, she felt a tiny pang of guilt. She pushed it away. This is my day, she thought. The vows were said, rings exchanged, and everyone cheered. Then it was time for the reception in the grand hall. The reception was magical. Tables were covered in white cloth, with centerpieces of roses and candles. A live band played soft music, and waiters served fancy food, lobster, champagne and chocolate fountains. Emily and James cut the cake, laughing as guests clapped. But as the night went on, strange things happened. First, Sarah pulled Emily aside. "Hey, I overheard the hall manager talking. He said something about your dad paying for this place." Emily laughed. "What? That's impossible. Dad can't afford a cup of coffee here, let alone the whole hall." "James's parents paid for it." Sarah shrugged. "I don't know, but he mentioned Robert Thompson specifically." Emily brushed it off, but intrigue started building. Then during speeches, James's father stood up. "We want to thank everyone for coming. And a special thanks to the person who made this venue possible." He paused, looking confused. "Wait, my notes say it was sponsored by an anonymous donor. But I thought we paid—" Murmurs spread through the room. Emily's heart raced. What was going on? She excused herself and went to find the hall manager, Mr. Harris. "Mr. Harris, who paid for this hall?" she demanded. He checked his records. "It was booked under your name, Miss Thompson, but paid in full by a Mr. Robert Thompson. He came in months ago, handed over cash in installments. Said it was a surprise for his daughter. He didn't want anyone to know." Emily's world spun. "Cash, but Daddy's poor. How?" Mr. Harris smiled. He said he sold his old garage and some land to make it happen. "I want you to have the best." Suspense gripped Emily. Sold his garage? That was his livelihood. And the land was the only thing he owned from his parents. Why would he do that? And why in secret? Emily's mind flashed back again. She remembered last year when she told her dad about the wedding. "Dad, the hall is so expensive." "James's family is helping," Robert had nodded quietly. Now she realized he must have started saving or selling right then. But the intrigue deepened. Why did he wear rags? If he had money for the hall, why not buy a suit? She rushed outside, hoping to find him, but he was gone. Panic set in. She called his phone, no answer. Back inside, the party continued, but Emily couldn't enjoy it. Emotions swirled. Anger at herself, sadness for him, confusion. Guests started leaving, and James noticed her distress. "What's wrong, honey?" "I threw Dad out, and he paid for all this," she whispered, tears welling up. James was shocked. "Your dad? But we thought—" Emily grabbed her keys. "I have to find him." She drove to their old house, the one she hadn't visited in years. It was dark and quiet. Knocking on the door, no answer. Then she remembered the gift box. She had left it in the car. Opening it, she found a letter and a photo. The photo was of little Emily and Robert, smiling on her first bike. The letter read, "Dear Em, I'm so proud of you. I know I've embarrassed you sometimes, but I never wanted to hold you back. Your mom left because she wanted more, and I didn't want you to feel trapped like that. That's why I never remarried. I couldn't bear it if someone hurt you. Today I wore my work clothes because I sold my good suit to help pay for the hall. It was my gift to you. Love, Dad." Tears streamed down Emily's face. He wore rags because he sacrificed everything, even his dignity, for her happiness. Emily drove around town, heart pounding with suspense. Where could he be? She checked the garage, closed and sold, as Mr. Harris said. Then she remembered the old park where they used to picnic. There he was, sitting on a bench under a street light, still in his rags, staring at the ground. "Dad!" she cried, running to him. He looked up, surprised. "Emily, what are you doing here?" "It's your wedding night." She fell to her knees, sobbing. "I'm so sorry. I found out about the hall. Why didn't you tell me?" Robert sighed, his voice soft. "I didn't want you to feel obligated. You've built a new life, and I'm happy for you. I just wanted to give you one perfect day." "But you gave up everything." "Your job, your land, and you refused to remarry for me." He nodded. "After your mom left, I promised myself you'd never feel unloved. A stepmom might have been kind, but what if not? I couldn't risk it. Raising you alone was hard, but worth it. Emily hugged him tightly, emotions overwhelming her. Regret for her cruelty. Gratitude for his love. Love she had taken for granted. I was so wrong. Please come back with me. Emily held her father tightly, refusing to let go. Dad, please come back with me, she begged. Everyone needs to know the truth. I want you there. I need you there. Robert slowly pulled back and wiped his eyes with the back of his hand. He looked toward the distant lights of the reception hall, then shook his head gently. No, Emily, he said softly. I can't go back. Her heart dropped. Why? Dad, I threw you out. Let me fix it. He gave a sad smile. Some wounds don't heal by walking back into the same room. That hall is full of people who looked at me like I was nothing. I don't blame them. You taught them how to see me today. Emily sobbed harder. I was stupid. I was ashamed of the wrong thing. I know, he replied kindly. But going back there won't change what happened. I'm not angry. I just don't want to sit among silk and gold pretending I belong, when all I ever wanted was you. But Dad, you paid for everything, she cried. I paid for your happiness, he corrected gently. Not for a seat at the table. Emily returned to the reception hall alone, her dress dusty at the hem, her face streaked with tears. The music slowed when guests noticed her expression. James rushed to her side. Emily, what happened? Where's your dad? She took the microphone with shaking hands. The room fell silent. I need to say something, she began, her voice breaking. Tonight I did something unforgivable. I threw my father out of my wedding because he looked poor. Gasps filled the room. That same man sold his garage, sold his land, sold his suit, everything he had, to pay for this hall. He raised me alone. He refused to remarry so no one would ever mistreat me. And I treated him like a stranger. James's mother covered her mouth. James's father bowed his head in shame. Emily continued, tears falling freely. My father refused to come back here. He said he didn't pay for a seat among gold. He paid for my happiness. And tonight I failed him. The room was silent. No music, no laughter. Only regret. Later that night, after most guests had left, Emily returned to the park with James. Robert was still there, standing now, ready to go home. James stepped forward. Sir. Mr. Thompson, he said respectfully, I owe you an apology. I stayed silent when I should have spoken. Thank you for everything. Robert nodded. Take care of her, he said simply. Emily hugged her father again, longer this time. I don't care about halls or money anymore, she whispered. I just want you in my life. He smiled, brushing her hair like he did when she was little. I've always been here, Em. Just don't forget that again. He still refused to return to the hall. Instead, Emily walked him home, hand in hand, in her wedding dress under the quiet night sky. Weeks later, Emily visited her father often. She helped fix up his small rented room. She listened, really listened, to his stories. She no longer hid him from her world. She brought her world to him. One afternoon, she framed a photo and hung it in her living room. A picture of her and her dad at the park, taken the night of her wedding. No gold, no chandeliers, just love. Emily finally understood the truth. Her father was never poor. He was rich in sacrifice, rich in love, and she would spend the rest of her life making sure she never forgot it again. That night, Emily didn't lose a wedding. She gained a lesson money could never buy. Her father walked away from chandeliers and gold, but he never walked away from love. Some people don't look rich because they spent their lives paying the price for someone else's happiness. If this story touched your heart, like this video, share it with someone who still has their parents, and subscribe for more real stories that reveal the deepest sacrifices and biggest life lessons, because the richest people in the world are often the ones with nothing left to give but love.